Just days after one of Thailand's worst massacres in its history, Prime Minister Prayuth Chan-ocha has called for tighter gun control measures. Law agencies have been ordered to implement more regulations to avoid mass killings in the future. Measures like revoking gun licenses of owners who have in any way threatened the society or caused unrest, especially for police officers, those who have misused their firearms or have behaved aggressively while on duty. There will be more crackdown on illegal gun sales, weapon smuggling and the use of illegal firearms. The Thai government is also pushing for regular mental health checks for applicants. The latest order also includes a curtail on drug use. Authorities have been asked to search and test communities for drug abuse. Treatment for addicts will also be made a priority. All these new regulations are in line with what unfolded in Thailand recently. Just last week, a former police officer launched a knife and gun attack. He targeted a children's daycare center. At least 34 people lost their lives, with 24 being children. The perpetrator then headed home and killed his wife, his child, and then himself. Investigations now show that he was unhappy and resorted to drug abuse. The 34-year-old was fired from duty in June for the possession of an illegal drug. He had a history of occasional outbursts of violence. Similar patterns were seen in the handful cases seen in Thailand in the past. It is important to understand that the country has one of the highest gun ownership records in the world. However, cases of gun violence is marginally low. This is because of Thailand's stringent laws on firearms. But often, critics have pointed out the inconsistency in the regulations. Security forces can purchase as many weapons as they want at a steep discount. But for civilians, the rules and prices are both high. This disparity leads to an unregulated space where some government officials end up selling weapons to people in the black market. This loophole has come at a huge cost for Thailand. The country of 70 million people has a well-rooted gun culture. Weapons may not mark political identity like they do in the United States, but every trigger in Thailand first needs a safety lock. And in this case, it will be a revised gun law. Let's talk more about this, and Phil Robertson is joining us live from Bangkok. Phil is the Deputy Director of Human Rights Watch Asia Division. Phil, welcome to WION.
Thank you.
Many are still questioning the irony of this whole saga. Thailand has strict gun laws, but that has not kept the country safe. What are some of the inconsistencies within the law that need to be altered?
Well, we have a lack of accountability by officials, particularly by police and military. What we've seen in this case was the perpetration of these atrocities by a former policeman. 2 years ago, it was an active duty military officer who had access to guns. As your report pointed out, it's very possible for officials to gain access to low-cost guns. And there's a lot of corruption. There's a lot of selling of guns into the black market. Mm-hmm. There's an estimated 6 million unregistered guns that are in Thailand. So Thailand is essentially awash in weapons here. And, frankly, it was just a matter of time before these sort of mass killings happened, given the failure to focus on mental health, the failure to effectively regulate the sale of guns, particularly in the black market, right, or to crack down on it, and the prevalence of some of these drugs like methamphetamines.
The narrative has changed, Phil. This shocking incident has triggered a national conversation around gun control and drug use, as well as on questions of mental health. Do you think this will have an impact on the next election scheduled for around May next year?
I'm not sure it's going to sort of string out that long. I mean, I think what we've seen in the past is that Thailand has a tendency to talk a lot about something after it's just happened, but people forget rather quickly. What we're hoping for is a significant reform of the gun laws to, make sure there's effective regulation and oversight so that we don't have these kind of killings take place. But, there's always been talk about drugs. There's always been talk about accountability, but oftentimes these things just don't come to pass. the next election, which could be as late as May 2023, that's a long way off. And I think, a lot of people will be unhappy that all this happened, but I think that they're not going to have that affect their vote when they go to the polls next year.
Phil, finally, what does the Prime Minister's office need to do now going forward?
Well, we think that they need to actually sketch out a very clear plan on effective regulation of guns. We want them to do more with community-based initiatives on dealing with drug abuse, so that we have more rehabilitation, we have more focus on treating people as some people who are sick and need assistance. And we need to ensure that there's accountability, that if, in fact, officials are selling guns into the black market, that they're held accountable for doing so, because, that is clearly against the law.
Phil Robertson, we have to end this conversation here. Thank you very much for giving us time today. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.